Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And as you can see, it just seems a little bit busy this morning. We're also up a little bit early today because Jane is off to the airport meeting flights, and also she's actually guiding today as well. So I won't see much of Jane today, that's for sure. But all in all, the weather today is absolutely glorious. Thank you to Amanda for the concise weather forecast. She says, Ginge, today is going to be warm and sunny, 26 highs, but it's going to feel like it's 30. But to be honest, it's absolutely glorious. Just a few little wisps of cloud in the distance, nothing to be duly concerned about. So all in all, again, it's looking absolutely gorgeous. Can I just say a quick hello to Kinshasa? Yes, Kinshasa, over there in the Belgian Congo, to a mate of mine that I haven't spoken to in God knows how many years, by the name of Mr. Steve Chukta, ex-RAF Reg buddy, who then went and joined the Foreign Legion, did 30 odd years in the Foreign Legion, and is now living over in the Belgian Congo, bless him. We talked last night, had a really, really good chat last night, which was amazing. Can I also say a big thank you to all those people who tuned in to my live broadcast last night from the house, doing a reverse broadcast into Magdalena's bar. What an absolute fantastic night. I mean, I really, really did enjoy it. I've actually recorded last night's show as well. I'm going to give a proper copy of that to Dennis today, and then Dennis can obviously put it on at his convenience in Magdalena's bar, just to give a bit of atmosphere in the place as well, while they await my return as soon as restrictions are lifted and we get more people. Right, let's have a look at the news for today. And I've got to be honest, thank you to those people who were dropping me news in the early hours of this morning. I'm going to come on to that news. And once again, I do appreciate everything that people do in the way of providing me with extra information, because there's so much out there. And to be honest, some of it is what I can only describe as you get one positive story with a negative story, and they normally do confuse or counter or contradict one story against the other, and this will become apparent in my news today. Anyway, today's date then, it's the 17th of June, just to orientate you. It's Thursday. Where has this week gone? Now, the arrivals for today are very interesting, the arrivals today here on Zakynthos. We got 2 flights in from Athens. We've got 2 flights in from Amsterdam in the Netherlands. We've only got 1 flight in from Poland today, and that's coming in from Warsaw. We've got 1 flight in from Vienna in Austria. We've got 1 flight in from Sofia, which, if you don't know where that is, that's in Bulgaria. And we have 1 flight in today from Tel Aviv, in Israel. So the Israelis are coming. So again, that's the arrival stats today. Again, no sign of the British either, bless. Anyway, COVID in the last 24 hours, good point is that it is starting to recede again. Yesterday I did report to you there was 835 new infections. Well, that's down today to 549 new infections across Greece. That means the total at the moment stands at 416,741. 1 case was identified after checks into the country, which was exactly on the same report as the day before. According to the national stats about infections, they're not publishing names of locations unless they hit double figures. And again, there's been no reports of any infections here, new infections here in Zakynthos, since the lady tourists from Germany tested positive. So at the moment, our epidemiology data is that for the month of June here on Zakynthos, we've only had 6 confirmed cases of COVID-19. When it comes to deaths have actually dropped off quite a bit, actually, since I last reported to you. The other day, I reported 22 new deaths across Greece. Well, the latest figures are now there's been 13 new deaths across Greece. And again, that's quite a little bit of a drop. And so once again, our condolences to those people that are affected. 12,478 people have passed from the virus since the pandemic started. 96.4% of those had underlying health conditions or were over the age of 70. when it comes to critical cases, they're also down as well, and they've actually took a bit of a drop as well, which is good news. Did report to you 343 people in ICUs across the country. That number now has dropped down to 320. That's 217 male and 113 female. The underlying age of them, the average age is 68 years of age. 83% of those have got underlying health issues or are over the age of 70. Right, so let's get on to the news then. Now, today's news is from the Greek perspective. The local press today published a very interesting story, and I'm just going to basically read you the story, and it's going to be contradicted by other story that came in earlier very early this morning. But anyway, local news here in Zakynthos has written that July is also lost for tourists from Great Britain. Now, tourism in the Mediterranean countries popular in the United Kingdom is being hit hard again after the Prime Minister, UK Prime Minister's decision to postpone the opening of holiday trips for British citizens. Now, the decision removes the possibility of substantial British tourist flows abroad before August. Greek tourism chiefs are warning. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has postponed for July 19th the final Freedom Day, during which the restrictions for the coronavirus will be relaxed, while at the same time most of the big tour operators will extend the cancellation period in July. Now, the head of the Valencia region of Hoteliers Association, which is known as Hosbec, Tony Mayer, had a meeting with the British ambassador and said that the outbound tourism for the United Kingdom will be on ice by at least August. Anyway, coronavirus levels in Spain remain high by region, and the picture is not homogeneously in the country. So I think we will have to wait, he said. Anyway, representatives of the Turkish tourism also received similar messages from the Foreign Ministry. At the same time, British Airways, Virgin Atlantic and EasyJet are cancelling flights until at least July the 19th. TUI UK also cancelled holiday plans in July, citing ongoing uncertainty. And thank you to those people who sent me screenshots of the cancellation letters that they were receiving from the airlines. Anyway, from TUI, sorry. European destinations do not expect major changes in travel recommendations to the British before the beginning of August. At the same time, some countries are restricting travellers from the UK due to the rapid spread of the coronavirus Delta variant. The Netherlands has announced quarantine restrictions for travel from the UK, while Ireland and Italy may follow suit. Anyway, the Italian Prime Minister, Mario Draghi, has said that he may need to quarantine again for travellers arriving in the country from Britain if the number of cases of the coronavirus continues to arrive. So that's the story at the moment that is going around the local press here in Zakynthos. Now, in the meantime, thank you to Paul Prophet over there in the Irish Republic who sent me this story, and also Dino as well, who also was adding comments to this story in the early hours of this morning. Meanwhile, the story this morning, the British government is considering, let's get the wording right, is considering relaxing restrictions surrounding international travel for Britons who've had both corona vaccines. Anyway, a British government spokesman has told Sky News that it is working with the industry for a safe return to international travel, guided by one overwhelming priority: public health. Yeah, the same bullshit as always. They added, recognising the strong strategic rationale and success of the vaccination programme, we have commenced work to consider the role of vaccinations in shaping a different set of health and testing measures for inbound travel. If approved, the new plan, first reported by The Telegraph, could mean that Britons who are fully vaccinated will not need to quarantine upon their return from destinations including the US, countries and across Europe. The latest British government data shows that more than 30 million people in the UK have now have both doses of the COVID-19 jab. About 1 million people in the UK aged between 21 and 22 became eligible to book their coronavirus vaccinations on Wednesday, and those aged between 18 and 30 are expected to be invited by the end of this week. Anyway, few countries appear on the UK's green list for travel, where holidaymakers are not required to quarantine once they return. At present, Britons are being advised not to travel to amber list countries, of which Greece is one of those, including popular hotspots such as Spain and France, as government guidelines state they must quarantine at home for 10 days upon their return. So again, you've got this, which people are calling a little ray of hope, a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. But on the same token, if you remember yesterday, the British government unanimously rubber stamped through to continue the coronavirus extensions that are running in the UK. The one problem they have had is they cannot order people back to work because that is being deemed as unlawful. But whether they're going to get any bailout money to continue with those people who want to work from home and not go into the office because it's too dangerous to go into the office, I might catch something. It's a lot easier to work in your underpants at your computer during the day than it is to have to get dressed up and get on the bus or get on the train or get in your car and drive somewhere and work in your office. So at the moment, you get one story from one lot, another story from another lot, and basically confusion reigns. I think at the moment, I honestly feel now in my heart that we're not going to see anybody from the UK here until maybe towards the end of July. And I think everybody else is hoping it might change, but the reality is I don't think it's going to change now, and it's going to change soon. So it's about a case of get on with the people that you've got, keep them happy, keep them entertained, and if the British come, it will be a massive bonus for us. But as they say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. And I think this year that is really coming to light at the moment. Right, going back to some other local news, reference the trial that's going on. With the consent of the investigator and prosecutor, it was decided to remand the 27-year-old woman from Zakynthos into custody for her participation in the murderous attacks against the Korfiatis couple, remember Christina and Dimi, who were attacked in June 2020. Now, the lawyer, the 27-year-old, yesterday afternoon was accompanied by her lawyer, and she appeared at the Zakynthos police station, was handed over to the authorities as an arrest warrant had been issued against her. Now, the role of the 27-year-old seems to have been, she has played in the murder of 37-year-old Christina Kontentious, and also where she was killed and her husband was fatally wounded, shall we say, back in 2020. Her role was basically that she was gathering intelligence on the couple's movements, and she was kind of following them as well. And she was the person who, according to reports, was passing information to the hitmen who actually set up a fake stop point as well. Anyway, they then obviously ambushed the couple outside of their home in Agios Sostis. So now at the moment, this lady now is being held in custody. Last night, she was taken to the prosecutor and to the investigator of Zakynthos, where obviously she made her apologies to the court, which is the custom here with Greek legality, and she's now going to remain in custody. Where that will be, that has not been revealed at the moment. Also as well, another Greek story, which again I read with a heavy heart last night, and again it smacks of when you have a majority in government, whatever you say will actually happen. and you can pass bills through with no problem whatsoever, despite people wanting the opposite. Unlike in the UK at the moment, Boris doesn't have a significant majority. However, the opposition party, the Labour Party, just seems to rubber stamp everything that Boris wants to put through, and they seem to, Keir Starmer and his lot, just pass it through without any question whatsoever. However, here in Greece, the contentious Labour reform bill that I've been talking about over the last weeks, that sparked nationwide protests and strikes. Well, that was carried through the Greek Parliament on Wednesday by the Conservative government here with a majority of 158 votes in the 300-seat Greek Parliament. Now, the bill's ratification came after 3 days of real acrimonious debate that culminated in a heated exchange between the Prime Minister, Mr. Mitsotakis, and Alex Tsipras, who was the former Prime Minister and is also the leader of the opposition party, which is Tsipras. Which is Syriza. Sorry, I do mistake there. Anyway, Mitsotakis stressed that the 10 bold changes are included in the bill, changes that will finally, he says, help the Greek economy and society to meet the fast pace of the rest of Europe as well as our times. Now, the opposition warned after and dismissed the criticism that the bill seeks to abolish collective bargaining and the 8-hour Labour Day. It will also weaken unions and the Labour Inspectorate. He said when governments come to loggerheads with a vast majority of society and its interests, its days are numbered. Anyway, the government also came under fire from the rest of the opposition, with the head of the centre-left movement for change, Foira Gamamata. He said that the legislation deregulates labour relations, destroys workers' rights and undermines collective contracts. You're saying that black is white and presenting the bill as though it were pro-worker, he said laughably. Dimitris Kompasalis, the head of the Greek Communist Party, the KKE, his sentiments were shared by the secretary of the left-wing Mira 24 party, which is run by Yannis Varoufakis, the Greek economist, who said that the government is mistaken to think that it can defeat logic and justice. And the far right-wing nationalist Greeks, the Greek Solution, they're called, Kyriakos Venopoulos, described the new legislation as medieval. Now, for those people who are not quite sure, but this new legislation, in my book, will make it much easier for Greece to start doing business with large corporations. So we raised the name Amazon being one of them. And I just feel that the 0 hours contract and the way that the large corporations, he now has opened the door for those are now to become part of the norm for working here in Greece. One thing about the large corporations and the big brands, they didn't want to come to Greece to do business because it was oh so difficult to do business in Greece because of the unions, because of the rights of the workers. And basically now those restrictions have now effectively are now going to be lifted, or they're going to be watered down. And mark my words, I reckon within the next 3 years, you will have 0 hours contracts appearing here in Greece. And we've got to remember 0 hours contracts have been the curse of the worker in the UK, where people can be hired and fired at the drop of a hat. You're working, but you don't actually exist in the way of credit structure, in that you can't get a mortgage, you can't get credit. There's a lot of things that being on a 0 hours contract, you slip through the cracks of being able to get things and being able to be part of the proper working force. And there's a very good analogy, especially in America. It's poverty through employment, not poverty through unemployment. And also the other thing is these large corporations are not paying any taxes. They look at their employees as the persons paying the taxes, and they also look at it like this, that taxes for us is a running cost which is paid for through our employees, but the profit that we make on that, we just salter that away in various banks in locations around the world, and we don't reinvest it back into the companies. And even then, when they're given a tax cut from time to time, that doesn't go back into building more factories or employing more people. That just goes into either buying more stock from the company so they have a better place on the stock market, and also being just basically salted away as an investment and making money there. So anyway, I think a very sad day now that bill has gone through the Parliament. And again, because it was a majority government from New Democracy, it meant that they can just easily pass bills through the House without any real problems from opposition trying to stop it. So anyway, sad day indeed. Anyway, a bit of good news then. I do have some good news. The Greek Association of Olive Oil Producers, or Sevatel, said in a report on Tuesday, exports of the standardized Greek olive oil to Europe, the European Union and non-EU countries grew a spectacular, get this, 225% in the period of 2002 to 2020. That meant 52,735 tons of olive oil has grown from what originally was 14,851 in 2002. Now, the report, based on data collected by the European Commission's Director General for Trade, showed that exports of the standardized Greek olive oil to EU countries totaled 31,655 tons in 2020, which had gone up from 7,561 tons in 2002. So that was up 319%, while exports to other countries rose 189% to 7,290 tons. Now, who's the biggest importer of Greek olive oil, you might ask? Well, in fact, guess who? It's Germany. Yeah, Germany imported, believe it or not, in 2020, about 14,000 tons, followed by the UK coming in at number 2. We actually imported 2,639 tons, not as much as Germany. They must be swimming in it. That's all I can say. Austria came in 3rd place. Austria came in 3rd place. France in 5th. Belgium came next. Sweden came next, and at the bottom of the top buyers was actually Cyprus. I thought Cyprus would have their own olive oil. Why are they bringing olive oil in from Greece? But anyway, Cyprus actually brought in 1,209 tons of olive oil from Greece. And among the third countries, the US ranked first. The America was taking 9,143 tons of Greek olive oil. Canada took 1,851, and Australia took 1,703. And Russia, also in that list as well, they took 1,218. So it's a great day for the people doing the olives, and I think there were still people doing olive trees up until recently, but the next big harvest we're expecting is that of the grapes, and we'll see how the wine harvest carries on. Right, let's have a quick look and see who's tuning in at the moment. I see a few faces there. Ian Sisterson is tuning in. I think you were tuning in last night, Ian, if I remember rightly. Paul Cartwright is tuning in as well. Steve Hinkling is watching as well. Amanda Gregory is watching. Dave Matthews is watching. Also as well, there is comments. Steve Hinkling says manners. Yes, I think I know what you're referring to there. My little outburst about what's going on. Yes, and I do apologise for that. John Clifford, who is actually over here at the moment, although in his mind he's at Skadublia. Nice to have you tuning in this morning, big fella. Dave Matthews is tuning in as well. Also, Amanda Gregory is giving me a wave. I'm just trying to say some people, oh yeah, Dave Matthews says, good morning, mucky and raining here. He's over in Oxford with a wet weekend on the cards. That normally means it's good for fishing, Dave. So that's one positive you can say. And also thank you for the video of your barbecue in the garden the other day. I'm not sure if it was me that was playing the tunes on your radio at the time, but your barbecue looked absolutely fantastic. That's all I can say. Let's have a look. Anybody else got any messages? Again, once again, I'm being censored again from getting stuff up online. Oh yeah, Shane Bowen says, Gallimera Ginge, great show last night. Thank you for that. Paul Bruff up there in the Peloponnese is also tuning in as well. Nice to have you looking in, fella. I'm not sure how your season's going up for you, where you are in Greece at the moment. But anyway, that's the news for today. Can I just say once again, thank you again for the continued support. I do apologise for yesterday, but it was very strange yesterday. My YouTube upload, I'm not exaggerating this, my YouTube upload yesterday, I started uploading within about half an hour of me finishing the broadcast. I didn't manage to get that broadcast up online until 7 o'clock yesterday evening. Don't ask me why, but YouTube yesterday was not processing my uploads very quickly. I then had to re-upload that broadcast, I think 5 times, because it just froze at the processing part, where they go through and they check what you say and they check the algorithm. So I had to make a few little adjustments to things, and then it eventually got uploaded. So once again, for those people watching on YouTube, I do apologise for the lateness of that broadcast. Right, that's it from me. I'll keep my ear to the ground. Thank you again to all those people who are sending me information and updates. If you put comments that at the moment I can't actually physically get to them because it's not letting me get to it. I've just seen one message from Paul Cartwright. It's a conspiracy, Ginge. Thank you. It could be a conspiracy. To be honest, they said that last year, didn't they? All this thing that Fauci was on about money being used by America to do analysis of viruses in a Chinese laboratory was all just conspiracy theory. And lo and behold, a year later, the emails come out and it's all true. So there again, what might be a conspiracy theory 1 minute could be the truth next. And if you think about this as well, we always thought of UFOs as being a conspiracy theory. And all of a sudden, UFOs are not conspiracy anymore. They're kind of fact. So again, we are living in strange times. Things are moving at an incredible rate. The only thing that's not moving is Boris's decision to lift the lockdown, get you lot back to work, and also get the flights from the UK back over here. Maybe that's all a conspiracy as well. But we'll wait and see. Anyway, that's it from me. I will see you later on. I'll keep my ear to the ground, and you have a nice day. Ta-ra!